Marshall in the middle.
Yeah, it's neat that as we read down through here, you talk about your calling to serve the Army and not necessarily a particular person. I totally agree. Right? We step up to the plate when we're called to bat, and that's just kind of the way it is. And we bring to it what we have brought to it. The Army does a good job of preparing us for a lot of things, but there's some things that it just doesn't do that great of a time at, If
you look at my career, Brian Stahl was a dear friend of mine, but Stahl was a sergeant major and he saw something in me, and so he took a chance. Rick Williams did after that event in Iraq and said, well, all right, let's see what happens, and go start a marksmanship program for the division. And let's figure out how we can shoot better and become more lethal. So, okay, Roger, sergeant major. And we built Eagle Marksmanship Academy together. You've got to have people who are on your side, though. You got to have people in your corner. And I was lucky to have some really good people in my corner.
Amen. So take me through the rest of this blog. Let's go, if you don't mind, take me through the high points of what you see as important in here. I think that maybe reading it is not the right thing to do right now completely.
So go to the second to last paragraph.
All right.
I am only one, but I am an important one, not irreplaceable, but important, because I serve the organization in the way that only I can. Only I can do that exactly this way. We're going to grow that theme all the way through. So okay. The Army told you, all of us, when we were coming in, leadership was what? Providing purpose, direction, and motivation in order to accomplish the mission and improve the organization. Okay. So everyone memorized it. We all went to, in our case, PLDC. Down the road is going to be BLC, whatever. We all went there and we memorized that's what leadership was. Okay, great. Purpose, direction, and motivation. Okay, go ahead. Ready? What does that look like to Joe in a particular? And I've said this before. I'll say it again. The toughest leadership challenge you're ever going to face in your life, in garrison in general, is a PFC in the middle of a 25-mile road march who sits down about mile 12 and says, I'm not moving.
I had one of those.
What you going to do, big boy?
I had
Once
one.
They don't. Go ahead, Joe.
I had one that crawled underneath the desk during a test. It was pretty interesting. If you don't get that experience by figuring it out yourself, that makes you the one. Just like Fenlason's the one.
Hey,
Will's
so here we
one.
go. You got a guy sitting down, sitting down in the middle of his road march, climbing under the desk, whatever. Now you've got some options available to you according to the Army. You have legitimate authority. I am a non-commissioned officer. I am my position. I am whatever. Okay. And that legitimate authority carries on about as far as that person cares. And that's an important thing to remember, is when they stop caring about your authority, you actually don't have any. It doesn't exist anymore. So your legitimate authority, that goes away pretty quickly. Junior sits down and says, I don't really give a fuck about an Article 15. I don't care. Okay. Huh. All right. Well, So then you can try to apply reason. And you can say, well, I can't. Now you're stuck because you can't leave them there. Because if you do that, you failed your notional responsibility as a leader. And you can't just stop and say, well, I guess I'll sit here with you and we'll just both sit here until we starve to death. That's not going to work. So then you can try to motivate them. Okay. So how are you going to motivate them? Well, first you probably threaten them. That worked. As part of our younger career, that seemed to work pretty well. Get up or I'm going to butt stroke your ass and well, whatever. Okay. Well, can't do that today. So that's no longer an option, really. What are you going to do now? You're going to apply to reason. Okay. Well, then when you do that, you'd better be able to win that fight. You'd better be able to put yourself and figure out a way to convince them that the way they see the problem is not the best way to see the problem. And if you can't do that, well, then you're just about screwed. And so I say to Will Marshall, 25-mile road march dude sits down at mile 13. What's your solution? I say to Joe Benson, what's your solution? I say to Jeff Fenlason or anyone else. The answer to that question is you, is the importance of you. And they didn't teach you that when they taught you what leadership was. And that's where this journey starts, is why you matter.
Marshall in the middle.